What's up, dudes? And welcome back again. So, today we're looking at a video by Monado Max, and apparently, there's tons of Switch games, AAA title Switch games, that are going out of print or being discontinued. And this is a crazy time for Nintendo Switch games and collecting in general. So, this is a topic that I've been talking a lot about on my channel recently in my Rare Games series. And let's check out this video. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Monado Max here, and today we're doing a video on Nintendo Switch collecting because the whole Nintendo Switch collecting scene is kind of going crazy right now. In pure speculation, especially just really the Nintendo community itself is going in pure speculation mode because of what's happening with the Nintendo Switch games. Now, if you haven't heard the news, there's this list that's been going around that has now been pretty much proven to be real. Looking at Walmart's kind of helped us out with proving that this is real. And if you look at other carriers out there in the retail scene, a lot of what this list is showing is coming to be for true, which is a lot of out-of-print Nintendo Switch games. And when I say a lot of out-of-print first-party Nintendo games. Some on this list that's really shocking. And a lot of people are going crazy trying to figure out what does this mean. Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Selects, are these games just out of print? What does this mean? Now, it seems like a lot of the community is really focused on it being Nintendo Selects, and spoiler alert, no, it's not Nintendo Selects, and I'm going to tell you why it's not Nintendo Selects. I'm going to tell you what's going on here and what I think is happening. Starting off, let's go over what games are going out of print. We have Paper Mario the Origami King, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, Metroid Dread, Kirby Star Allies, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fire Emblem Engage, Yoshi's Crafted World, WarioWare Get It Together, Nintendo Switch Sports, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Mario Maker 2, and Mario Strikers Battle League. These are all games that will no longer be printed. Now, this might be...
Ooh. What I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys? Man, maybe not all of you guys, but in a few of my videos that I've done for like the Rare Game series, there's usually one or two people that go onto my videos and say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This is a bunch of bogus. How do you know these games are going to become rare? Blah, blah, blah." Well, if you were a collector and if you know Nintendo, stuff like this happens, especially with their AAA titles. And Nintendo Switch being their most popular and their best selling console, you better know that this console is going to go down in history as well as the games. So when they go out of print, and they're on eBay for $100, $200, it's going to get pretty crazy. So this does not surprise me at all. Yeah, let's get back into the video because this is going to be crazy.
Like, oh, are these games that we should buy now? Are they going to be rare? Are we going to see them in the top 10 Monado Max series rare Switch games? Which you guys could watch right here. Look at these awesome thumbnails right here. Oh my gosh.
Those are great
Not
videos, guys.
exactly.
Check them out.
I think these are games you definitely should be on the lookout for. But there's a lot to look into when it comes surrounding this list. And a lot that I think kind of helps us look at in terms of the next Nintendo console. Let's speculate what's happening. I want to first talk about how Nintendo Switch cartridges work. Now, a lot of people don't realize what makes Nintendo Switch collecting so interesting is because the fact that the Nintendo Switch uses a cartridge-based system, a lot of the whole game is on the cartridge, or at least a lot more than most things out there. Because discs nowadays really don't hold much. It's more just like a download disc at that point. And because of Nintendo using cartridges, that makes it way more expensive. And with how Nintendo Switch games are, I'm saying that there's a big difference in terms of price. We have seen third-party games not do a physical release at all because of how expensive the cartridges are with these things.
That's
and
true.
When a game sells out for the Nintendo Switch, we rarely see a restock for it, especially
Exactly.
with the third-party games.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why you see some random, unexpected Switch games out there that really should not be as expensive as what it is. And particularly with the first-party Nintendo games, Nintendo themselves sometimes doesn't restock the stuff too. And I think now they're getting to the point where they just don't want to restart certain games. They just want to be done with them. Because some of these games, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they were originally done reprinting those. They were done printing that completely, and then Pyra and Mythra got in Smash Bros., so they printed out more copies because the interest of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was very high at that moment. So
Yeah, the same exact thing happened with Atelier Ryza 2. 1 and 3 had their runs and their prints and everything, but Ryza 2, because it became so popular, they actually gave it another print, which I found amazing because when I bought the game, I remember I bought Ryza 2 at Best Buy for 60 bucks, and that was the last one they had in store. And then I want to say a few months later, I go to my retro gaming store. The game was listed for $129. And then I went onto eBay and I was like, no way, that can't be real. Sure enough, when I went on eBay, it was 129 freaking dollars. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, if you're a collector, a video game collector, and you like Nintendo Switch, hold on to your games because they're going to be worth a lot in the next coming years. And with the Switch 2 coming around, it's going to be backwards compatible. It's pretty much confirmed. Yeah, these are going to freaking skyrocket in price and value, in my opinion. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to create a fear of missing out. But if there's certain games that you really, really want, now would be the time to start considering and saving up to get those games. Let's get back into it.
keep in mind, reprinting stuff is very expensive right now. I want to bring that point up with Nintendo Selects because a lot of people seem to think that we're getting a Nintendo Selects out there. And I mean, I think that's a good point. I think there's some stock into that theory. However, there's a few things we need to consider. If a Nintendo Selects was happening with some of these games on here, some of these games don't make sense to have as a Nintendo Selects, like Fire Emblem Engage. That just came out not even a year ago. I mean, it's about to be a year ago, like very close to being a year ago. But that's not going to be a $20 game from Nintendo anytime soon. And they're not going to go out of their way to reprint these games again because of how expensive cartridges are.
Yep.
Not to mention, if you look at the history of Nintendo Selects, they don't release that many games at once. It comes in waves. I'm pretty sure, if I recall, the Wii and Wii U, they always did it in waves, and it was always 6 games, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know how many Nintendo Selects games we got out there for the Wii, 3DS, and all that, the Wii U, but I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact, we didn't get this many games at the launch. And people seem to think that could be what's happening here. I don't think that's the case here at all. Because if that was the case, I would expect to see something like Breath of the Wild on this list, considering Mario Odyssey is on the list. There's
That's
a lot
true.
of games on here that don't make sense to be on a Nintendo Selects list because a lot of the stuff still sells like crazy, like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And I think there's a reason why certain games are on this list. Now, this part I am truly theorizing, but I think some of these games Nintendo doesn't want you to buy when the next Nintendo console comes out because the next Nintendo console is going to be backwards compatible. And I don't think they want you to buy Mario Odyssey because the next 3D Mario game is probably going to launch with the next Nintendo console. And with the Nintendo Switch 2, we're just going to call it that for right now, with it being rumored to have backwards compatibility in there, I don't think Nintendo wants you to be able to buy Mario Odyssey instead of something like, we're just going to say Mario Odyssey 2. Because
That is
obviously
true.
Mario Odyssey is going to be a way cheaper game.
That's another thing that I've actually been curious about is when they release a new console, what games are they going to be releasing with it? That's going to be intense. I'm excited to see that. So it's not just that we're getting a new console, but we're getting new games, updated Nintendo games to go with it. That's pretty darn exciting. I'm excited for that.
Out there compared to Nintendo's what will probably be $70 games on the next Nintendo console. And that could be for this list that we have right here. These games that we're seeing on this list, there's a strong possibility that some of these games could be coming to the next Nintendo console in terms of a new game within the series within the first year or two of the next Nintendo console. I think what's really going around right now is Nintendo is getting rid of games to have people have space to put games up for the next Nintendo console. If you go to retail stores right now, and this is something that I have been noticing over the few months, and it's getting worse. If you go into a place like Best Buy, GameStop, or Walmart, you look at their Nintendo cabinet, the Switch inventory for new games, at least like the big AAA games out there, the first party Nintendo stuff, there's not much there. If you've been watching this channel on the shorts, we've gone to Best Buy, Walmart, and GameStop, all different locations, and they're all having the same similar issue. They're
That is very true because I went about 2 weeks ago to my local Best Buy to pick up a Switch game. It was on sale, and when I looked, I like to look at their back wall there because usually where the register is, that's where they keep all the games. I want to say maybe like a few months ago, maybe a year or so, they had their own shelf for Switch games. It's just racks on racks of Switch games, and now it's like one little area, and I'm like, wow. Like at first, I thought it was just them getting sold out of stuff, but then now thinking about it more and more, when you go to other places like Target, Best Buy, there's very limited quantity on Switch games that are out there. Physical games in general too, because everyone's going more digital, which is a sad time for collectors, of course. I don't want to get into all that, but Switch games specifically, I've definitely seen the shelves empty out more and more and more. So that means that the next gen is coming, and I'm ecstatic for that. So I'm freaking ready.
running out of stuff there. Now, if you're lucky, you can still find some of these games that are on this list. And my recommendation to buy these games is to go to a local Walmart, because if Walmart has these games are supposed to be on clearance, because a lot of what's on this list that we talked about today, my Walmart does have and has automatically put on clearance already.
Another great point. Walmart is freaking crazy for buying Switch games. So let me tell you a little story real quick. I went to my local Walmart because sometimes they have like really cool $20 games. And when I went there, I was curious to see there was a Near Automata for the Switch, and there was no price code underneath it. So I asked the guy ring it up for me, and he was like, "Oh, it's $7." And I'm like, "What? No way!" And I was like, "Cool, I'll buy it. Cool." And I was like, "Why is it so cheap?" He's like, "Oh, it's on clearance. When games go discontinued or they're out of print, Walmart is informed of that, and they're told to put those games on clearance. So they drop it down by a lot, at least by 75%. I'm thinking even more than that. But to get Near Automata, a freaking AAA title for the Switch, which is like a $50, $60 game, for $7, brand new, that's freaking cool. So for those that are collecting, hit up your local Walmarts pretty often, at least once a week, because you'll find some darn good deals. I'm not kidding. I got Near Automata on the Switch for $7. That was the biggest win in collecting I think I've ever had.
So you get like the brand new Metroid Dread, $40. Really good deal. That also doesn't make sense that Nintendo is going out of print with that game. Now, like I said, I was theorizing on it potentially being related to the Nintendo Switch 2 in terms of new certain entries coming to games in the series. Because, that's just me speculating. Because I really would have felt like Zelda would have been on this list if we're getting rid of Mario Odyssey, at least Breath of the Wild. But we don't see Breath of the Wild mentioned on here, because obviously the next Nintendo console is not going to have another mainline Zelda game like that for another 5 years. So they want people to be able to buy Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild still. I don't think Nintendo wants you to be able to buy Mario Odyssey for $30, because that's how much the game was going for on Black Friday. And instead of buying that instead of the next Mario Odyssey 2 $70, it just doesn't make sense.
That's
if you
true.
look at Nintendo's history. So should you buy these Switch games? Well, I think a lot of what we talked about on this list has a good chance of being games that will end up being valuable, or at least hold that $60 value within the next Nintendo console life. I think these are some games you should look out for, and especially if these are games that you want going into the next Nintendo console, you should look into buying these games. Because one thing is for sure, they are definitely going out of print. That is what I believe is happening. Now, I want to know, What is your theory on what's going on? I don't think Nintendo Selects make sense, especially with the next Nintendo console rumored to drop this year. It doesn't make sense for Nintendo to go out of their way to produce more cartridges, because with cartridges, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, Limited Run has actually confirmed this. If you look at the owner's Twitter account, they have talked about, and this is why Limited Run is actually an open pre-order system now, rather than like the limited 5,000 copies. Let's say that, let's use whatever this game is right here, Assassin's Creed. Let's say Ubisoft wants to make 11,000 copies. You have to round it off to 15,000 copies. Or if you got like 1,700, you gotta round it off to 2,000 copies. You can't have a weird number. It's gotta be an exact number: 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. And it has to be high numbers that you're producing for them to do a reprint, or just, yeah, for a reprint, you have to ask for high numbers to make a case and cartridge and all that. It just doesn't make sense with the history of how expensive this is. With limited runs, what they've talked about with how expensive Switch games work and how other companies work with getting reprints and all that, does not make sense at all for Nintendo Selects to be a thing that's happening. I think ultimately this is just stores preparing to make space for the next Nintendo console, to have games available when that next Nintendo console drops, just to have room, because all stores is having the same issue where there's not much there at the Nintendo aisle. Want to know what you guys are thinking? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys have Twitter, tweet me an image of what your local game store looks like in terms of like mainline game stores like GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, that type of stuff, because I want to see if what I'm saying is true. Because with what I have seen at all the stores near me and outside of me, stuff is not coming back. There is no Nintendo Switch games, it feels like. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Let me know your whole thing and what you think's going on. I think it's interesting, and if you've been collecting for the Nintendo Switch already, I'm sure everyone's excited for this and has been waiting for this, because Nintendo Switch collecting is about to get really interesting within the next few months.
That's true.
Yes, part 3 is coming soon, before everyone comments that. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out my Twitch. Well, we don't do anything on Twitch, but still, check it out. Check out my Twitter, check out my Discord server, check out my Instagram, and everything else that's in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Pretty good video, I felt like.
Dude, this guy's cool. That's exactly how I feel about it too. Well, I guess we get some cozy vibes to go with it. So my thoughts on this is, I think he's definitely right about a lot that he's talking about. The theories that he has are pretty on point to my own. And yes, I have seen the shelves being more empty. I know something else is coming soon. And one thing that I also noticed too is that they've been coming out with a lot more special edition Switches, like the Animal Crossing Switch Lite, and then the the new Mario OLED that came out before Christmas. It's like all these little, special editions start coming out, and that's because they're getting rid of all their back stock Nintendo Switch games. And they're like, well, if we have all this back stock, you might as well make them a special edition, make it worth buying, So all this makes sense. And for all these games to go out of print that quick, man, these prices are going to freaking skyrocket. The value of them are going to be intense as well. I'm excited to see what new games come out for the Switch too. That's what they're calling it right now. I actually heard a rumor that it was going to be called the Switch, the Nintendo Focus. That I think would be a pretty cool name. And maybe they'll focus on gameplay and graphics and frame rates. Hopefully we get 1080p. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but yeah, guys, this is the real deal, man. This is actually really happening. So all the games I've been talking about, not only are those games going to skyrocket, but these AAA titles are going to be even more. So the value of them are going to go up crazy. The game that I have to still get on that list is Yoshi's Crafted World. I know it's pretty easy. I've heard about it, but That's a cool game. That looks like a fun game to have and play. And yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts as well. Be sure to follow Monado Max's YouTube channel. He has a lot of great content, and his collection is insane. Tons of good games. Yeah, I'm excited to see where the future of Nintendo goes. And if there's games that you guys want, dude, now's the time to buy them. Save up, do what you got to do, and definitely check out your local WalMarts as well too, because that's a really good place to collect. Tons of games go on clearance, and they drop in price a lot, by a huge amount. Walmart has this policy and thing. I guess they get a lot of stuff in stock. They got to get rid of it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to Monado Max's channel and my channel if you enjoyed the content. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.